Resident of Ajax since the age of 14. For a 10-year period, he was a police constable. He was first elected in '85. He's been in his current role as regional chair since 1997. He continues to serve on the board of the Association of Municipalities of Ontario. He's the director of the Federation of Canadian Municipalities. He's on the GO Transit Board. He was on the founding board of Metrolinx. But his most noteworthy achievement by far is that he sits on the board of the Durham Strategic Energy Alliance. Please help me welcome Roger Anderson.
I guess I'm the tester of the stage before the minister gets here. You're okay, Minister, everything's fine up here. Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Durham Region. For those of you who aren't from Durham Region, and if you're not, please feel free to spend money before you go. If you're here till 3 or 4 o'clock, you don't have to worry about traffic going back. It's wide open. That's why we have the meetings in the east end of the GTA, just so you know, so you can get in and get out real quick. On behalf of Durham Region Council and as a founding member of the Durham Strategic Energy Alliance, I offer greetings to each and every one of you, and especially our special guest, Minister Bentley, for joining us here this morning. The Smart Energy Capital of Ontario, that's what we like to call ourselves in Durham Region, and the region is proud of the energy industry and that the DSEA represents and keen to capture opportunities for all businesses in the energy sector. Through DSEA, we are creating an environment that stimulates partnership, collaboration, and innovation. Everyone knows that Durham Region companies are leaders in the generation field and the distribution of power. And did you know that we also have a leader in energy savings? Just recently, St. Mary's Cement Company in Bowmanville, which is just east of here, recently became the first company in the Americas to receive ISO 50001 certification for energy management, saving St. Mary's some 10 million kilowatt hours of energy. Durham Region has the highly skilled workforce, the strong technological base, and the research and education assets that today's energy sector demands of all of its employees. Our very competitive land rates ensure a good investment for your corporation. And when combined with a great natural environment and the high quality of life, Durham Region has much to offer smart energy companies, their leaders and their employees. And if you're in energy, we think you should be in Durham. Today, I encourage everyone here to consider how we can work together to energize the economy, not only here in Durham Region, but in the province of Ontario. We are excited to see the province investing in the Siemens-led smart grid demonstration project here in Durham Region. And Minister, we hope that you'll tell us how else we can work with the province to grow existing firms, nurture innovative companies, and more importantly, attract new businesses to this province. Refurbishment and new nuclear at Darlington are great opportunities to build our nuclear supply chain. But we also want to extend our reach into the smart grid development, clean energy innovation, and conservation technologies. Durham Region is jam-packed, ladies and gentlemen, with people power in our industry and our educational and research sectors. And Minister, I can assure you we can help you deliver Ontario's clean energy strategy and make this province the economic powerhouse it truly should be and it once was. This is a very exciting time for Durham Region, and Minister, we appreciate the time again that you've taken to come out here. I believe this is about the 3rd time in the last year that you've been in 4th. You were here and you didn't tell me? Just a minute. I had a whole bunch more to say about you. But we welcome you, Minister, to Durham Region. We appreciate our MPP, Joe Dixon, and Tracy being with us today as well. They work very hard for us. But Minister, you know Durham. You know that We have a model that we're the energy capital of Ontario. We want to keep that model. And we can do that by working together. So, Minister, on behalf of the region, welcome to Durham. To you, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Durham. The sun always shines in Durham.
Thank you, Roger. For our keynote speaker, Chris Bentley was elected to the Ontario Legislature in 2003, the election in 2007, and the election in 2011. In October 2011, he was appointed Energy Minister. Previously, he was the Attorney General, the Minister of Aboriginal Affairs, Minister of Training Colleges and Universities, and Minister of Labour. Bentley is a lawyer who practiced law for almost 25 years. For 10 years, he taught at the University of Western Ontario, where he helped establish a law school's career office. Mr. Bentley attended the University of Western Ontario, but he received his law degree from the University of Toronto in 1979. He was called to the bar in 81, and later obtained his master's level degree from the University of Cambridge, England. Bentley's home is in London. He and his wife Wendy have 2 daughters, and as you look at him as he walks up to the lectern, it'll be no surprise to you, he's an avid runner, and he has run in 3 Boston marathons. Please help me welcome the Honourable Chris Bentley.
Well, thank you very much for that very kind and generous introduction. Delighted to be here. Delighted to be at the hub of energy in the province of Ontario, in Canada, and for many reasons in the world. Yes, Roger, this stage is a bit shaky, but there's nothing shaky about this region. It's great to be here with the Energy Alliance. It's great to be here with my colleagues, Tracy McCharles and Joe Dixon. Joe, you didn't get to stand up when the head table was introduced. Will you stand up, please? We happen to be in Joe's riding here. Yes, I have been here 4 times in the last several months. The 4th time that you didn't know about, Roger, I was actually touring Darlington. And so I'm sorry about that. But it was a very good tour. In fact, some of colleagues at the head table, some of the mayors were saying that I've been here so often that I should be paying some sort of municipal tax. So we were having a discussion about which mayor I was actually going to pay it to, and we haven't quite resolved that. We may need your help, Roger, to do that. Oh, yes, here it goes. And so it continues. But there is so much going on here. There is so much going on here in the world of energy, and the world is interested in energy. Because there are a few basics. There are a few basic facts to life wherever you leave it. You need energy. You need energy to be available and reliable. We had a heat wave last week. And we had enough energy. We had a heat wave last week, and we were able to meet record temperatures with a reliable, modern, and clean supply of energy. Contrast that with where we were 8 or 9 years ago. After we became elected in 2003, many of my colleagues would sit on the edge of their seat as the Minister of Energy, wondering who they'd have to ask to turn off all their power, where the brownout was going to be, and where the potential difficult event was going to happen. A lot of work has been done by families, businesses, often led by people in this region, to make sure that we have a reliable and steady supply. That's important. That's a foundation of the life we lead. That is also a foundation of our economy. And it's an enormously important achievement. Ontario is determined to have a reliable, modern, clean energy supply that supports good jobs and a strong economy. There is a lot going on. I've only been given an hour and a half to speak this morning, so I won't be able to tell you everything. I won't be able to tell you everything. I want to concentrate just on a few very important milestones that this region really is leading in. Smart meters. What are smart meters? And what is this thing called the smart grid? Well, smart meters actually represent a huge technological revolution. It's the equivalent of going from the black rotary phone to the smartphone, except instead of taking 50 years, we and you have done it in 5. 5 years, over 4 million customers in the province of Ontario now have smart meters. Now have access to information. And that brings us to the edge of a very important age. How do we take the information that the smart meters have enabled us to accumulate and turn it to the benefit of families and businesses? Benefit so that those families and businesses can manage their energy use. Benefit so they can, where they choose, reduce or shift their energy use. Benefit so that they can manage their costs. It is a great opportunity led by a number of the firms represented in this room, led by this region. And it's a revolution that is being watched from around the world. And its ally is the smart grid. Well, what is the smart grid? It will give us the ability to better manage the flow of energy through an enormously complicated system in Ontario that is densely urban but very rural, within 50 kilometers in some places in the which has enormous numbers of people in a single municipality, and then has thousands of kilometers where you have virtually very few people. In some cases, no people. It's a very challenging system in this province. But the smart grid will enable us to better manage the flow of power, meaning we can use less power to accomplish the same thing. It will enable us to identify breaks in the system, enable us to take stress off part of the system, enable us to be much more effective in our use of this extremely important resource that we want to use as effectively as possible. It's something that the world recognizes is essential for a modern energy system. And people in this room are leading, and the Government of Ontario is helping that leadership. We launched a smart grid fund, a very modest fund of $50 million over several years to help support some of these important projects so that they can be implemented, developed, perfected, and then the parts exported around the world. What are some of the examples? I was at Viridian just the other week with Michael, and we were and my colleagues, and they have a partnership. They received a smart grid fund along with Energate for home energy management systems. It'll enable homeowners to identify not only what they're using, but identify ways of shifting their use. And yes, they can do it from home. They can even do it on their mobile phone from remote locations. And they can manage the appliances in the house from remote locations. You know, I don't know about you, I used to, and I still do, when I want to go to the movie theater, buy the ticket at the box office, order the popcorn at the counter. My kids don't do that, of course. They determine what the schedule is from the computer. They order the ticket from the computer. They get the popcorn from the computer. They communicate with their friends from the computer or the smartphone. Paper is not part of their world if it doesn't need to be. The world is moving to a 24/7 mobile platform. And that's what some of these smart grid technologies will enable us to do. All of which empowers the consumer, family or business, to better manage their lives, their energy use. You have another enormously important initiative right here in Durham, led by Siemens and several utilities who are working together on a control system, a smart grid control system, again supported through the Smart Grid Fund, which will enable this technology, which everyone believes will work very well, to be implemented, utilized in a region as diverse as this, and perfected. Better service for the consumer, better service for the system, but it doesn't end there, because it has a huge jobs component. A global market for clean technology, of which smart meters, smart grids, smart technology is part, is going to be in the trillions within the decade. Trillions. And we're leaders right here. So by implementing these projects, by perfecting the projects, by developing and manufacturing this technology here, we're not only securing a better and stronger energy system, we're securing jobs, high-tech, knowledge-based jobs for the future, for this region, for Ontario, for the prosperity of all. And is the world interested in what we're doing? Well, just a couple of months ago, we had 16 international journalists come to speak with our energy leaders about what we're doing in smart technology. They know we're leaders. They want to see what we're doing. We're determined to maintain our leadership through initiatives like the Smart Grid Fund, to make sure that not only do we benefit first, but we continue to benefit around the world by innovating, developing, manufacturing, and exporting. The jobs stay here. That's leadership. But the leadership doesn't end there. I mentioned on the fourth trip that I didn't tell Roger about, I was touring Darlington. We are leaders in nuclear technology right here in the province of Ontario. And the very difficult challenges in Fukushima occurred. Where did they look? They looked to Ontario, to our leaders, one of whom is Tom Mitchell, the OPG, to lead the international effort. When a nuclear facility in New Brunswick was having some challenges, where did they look? They looked to Ontario. They looked to this region. They got OPG to assist. We are leaders, and we're determined to remain leaders. Nuclear power has been an enormously important source of power in the province of Ontario for 50 years. Just celebrated our anniversary a couple of weeks ago. It's about 50% of our power, and it's going to continue to be 50% of our power. That's the plan. It's in our long-term energy plan, and we're determined to make it so. Absolutely. And so what are we doing to make sure that happens? Well, you've got 4 of the best reactors in the world just down the road at Darlington. And now we're going to refurbish those. We've already undertaken that refurbishment to make sure that they can continue to produce clean, reliable, cost-effective power for decades in the future. Now, refurbishing a nuclear reactor is not a simple task. And it takes a little more than a week. And it does cost a few dollars. So we have a multi-year project that OPG has launched. And they've launched it with a different approach. I would say a world-leading approach that has attracted a lot of attention. And part of it involves the development and construction of a center. A center which will have life-size replicas of the reactors so that the workers can not only be trained on them, their equipment can be used. And so they'll be able to identify if the particular piece of equipment they're going to use on the refurbishment is good enough to do the project when they get in there. Not just good enough generally, but good enough down to the millimeter tolerance that's needed. That's a great innovation. Developed here and an innovation that's going to attract a lot of attention from around the world, and I would not be surprised if in the future we get teams from all around the world coming here to that center to see what OPG's been doing on this refurbishment so that they can replicate the lessons around the world. Leadership, Durham region for the province of Ontario. That's a great message. That is an absolutely great message. And I know there are one or two people in the room, maybe 3 or 4, who are interested in the opportunities that new build will provide, and are very anxious to know what I might say about new build. Well, just on Friday, there was a very important step. A very important step. 2 service level agreements have been entered into by OPG with Can-Do Energy and with Westinghouse. And over the next year, both of these very important providers of nuclear power will provide detailed plans on the new build prospects, construction, and cost. It's an important step in bringing a decision on what happens with new build much closer. It's an important step that recognizes it's a huge decision for this region. It's a huge decision for the province of Ontario, and you want as much detailed information as you can possibly get from top quality providers. So that Friday announcement didn't get a lot of press, but it was an extremely important step. It has moved the decision that much closer, and I'm very much looking forward to the results of those service level agreements and the information that's provided there. You know, the leadership in this region has been amply demonstrated over the past number of years. You are determined to remain leaders in energy, and it happens to be, as I started these remarks by saying, something that affects people all around the world. I'm looking forward to working with you over the next while as we make decisions not only about nuclear, not only about smart grid, not only about the information that smart meters have made available, but on other ways we can continue to deliver what families and businesses universally want: reliable, clean, affordable power. One of the characteristics of the energy in this region is clean. Nuclear is clean. Very clean. When I started in 2003, a quarter of the power in the province of Ontario was coal. It's now less than 5%. By the end of 2014, no later, we will have not only eliminated that as a source of power, we will have shut down the coal units in the province of Ontario. The age of coal is soon over. And with it, the age of making thousands of people sick from dirty air and spending $4 billion plus a year in health care and environmental costs that are related to the dirty air. So let me just finish by saying I'm delighted to be here to speak with you this morning, delighted to be here to join and celebrate your leadership. You are leaders in energy, leaders in clean, leaders in reliability. I look forward to working with so many of you, all of you, in the days, weeks, months, and who knows to come, as we continue to build a modern, clean, reliable energy system in the province.